be too long before there are no more video intros with an exhaust startup. But Cobb has officially killed the AccessPORT, folks. No, not really, but we can jump into some of the details here. Just give a little high-level overview of what is going down. I do have a little bit of a stuffy nose. It's actually getting kind of dark. So essentially what it all comes down to is Cobb is making significant changes to both the software for Pro tuners and the off-the-shelf maps themselves in order to comply with emissions regulations. They say that they are doing their part to be good stewards of the environment. The most significant changes are gonna be on the Pro Tuner side, so anybody that's gonna get a Pro Tune, and then also affecting obviously any of the businesses that tune vehicles. And it isn't just Subarus, it's anything that Cobb covered. So essentially they will not be able to delete, quote unquote, anything, any sensors or triggers have anything to do with emission control. So if it's an OEM emission control, it has to remain in place. From what I was reading, once it's updated, the toggles and any of the things to do with emissions are essentially grayed out. They won't be able to access it. They won't be able to manipulate any of those data points, and they're gonna have to kind of just not troubleshoot, but come up with some workarounds and get creative here going forward. Off-the-shelf maps will also change. I don't think it's gonna be, from what it sounds like, as significant as what we're seeing on the ProTune side, but the stages, the progression and things like that you go through for the stages, the parts and things that you can buy, that's all gonna change. So, you know, it's definitely going into a different realm, a different era here for car modification and tuning. Probably not gonna be a lot of catless downpipes. Mine's actually catted anyway. Let's see a little downshift. It still sounds good though. So basically everything that Cobb does from this point forward is going to be based on and prioritized for emissions compliance, and they're still promising that, you know, their tunes will provide performance gains and such. However, they will no longer support any of the old files. So like if you don't update your AccessPORT and you've got like stage 1, 2, 3 plus and all that loaded, they won't support that anymore. There's a lot of ambiguity going on about it. So I guess we'll see as things come. This is obviously only just right after this all went down. I had to stop and get some food mid-video, so now it's even darker. What does it mean for the Pro tuning side? Just generally speaking, these updates are gonna come automatically. The same thing is gonna happen if you were to plug your AccessPORT into a PC. The update would happen automatically, and all of these new map refreshes would occur to be compliant with emissions and so forth. One thing that I've seen around that I've been reading is certain tuners may or may not have a 14-day grace period dependent on a few variables, but I think it's mostly what version they had of the software prior, so like what their previous version was. So if that's the case, they have a 14-day grace period, and then, you know, everybody's gonna be flocking to these tuners. Number one, to either finish up a tune or to get tunes for parts that they may have been collecting. But after that 14-day grace period, and for some already, it's already cut off, all of those toggles and all those data points that I was talking about within the software are gonna be grayed out, so that they're not gonna be able to manipulate anything with the tune in that regard. So I guess, I don't exactly know what it looks like on the tuner side. Obviously, I'm not a tuner, but when you're in there, there's gonna be all these grayed out things that you're unable to mess with anymore, which is gonna be a huge, huge undertaking to kind of shift gears, literally. Let's do a little rev match. One of the big issues with this though is two things, it's twofold. So you've got people that are in the middle of a tune already, and they may or may not be able to finish that tune dependent on which tuner they're currently using. So if you're in the middle of a tune and you got lucky, then you're gonna be in one of those 14-day thresholds. You might be able to get it finished. If you're in the middle of a tune and you're not, your tuner wasn't given that 14-day threshold, whatever revision you're currently on, you are stuck with. The other thing is, a lot of people will buy parts over time. So there, I mean, I've been reading things about people buying parts for the last 2 years to just do one build at one time and one tune for all those parts, which is actually, you know, a smart thing to do. You want to the less tunes you have to pay for is better. I didn't go that route, and I also didn't get a pro tune. But those are two big issues that are going to occur: people in the middle of a tune and people that bought parts that are now paperweights because they can't get them tuned. So what can you do? Well, you can go get an ECU Tech tune and go that route. No, but really ECU Tech is probably going to be flooded with inquiries right now. They're going to be the top dog as far as getting many of the tunes and handoff from Cobb. One of the directors at ECU Tech actually released a statement themselves saying that they were going to go the same route that Cobb is going. They don't have an exact timeline, but they hinted at it being early next spring-ish, early next year. So everything's moving in that direction, guys. It's the way of the world, the way of the car world, unfortunately. A lot of the fun things are no longer going to be available. They're not going to exist. Other than that, what else can you do? Get lucky, get into the 14-day grace period, get your car tuned, and then never touch the tune again. Never get a revision, never plug in your AccessPORT if you're using an off-the-shelf tune, off-the-shelf map. Don't plug it into the computer and update it. Still do front mount intercoolers, top mount intercoolers, electronic boost controller. It sounds like some of the things that you're not gonna be able to do with the flex kits. So no flex fuel kits. Flex fuel itself, it sounds like it's still gonna be available. You're gonna just have to have a dual tune, which, to be honest, I don't exactly know how that works. And then Cobb is trying to come up with a flex fuel compliant flex fuel kit. So then after all that, my camera dies as well. Anyway, so I'm here in the garage. What is good? We still haven't given a full garage update yet. The other things that are pretty much gonna be non-existent anymore are catless downpipes and the TGV deletes, EGR deletes, which the latter doesn't really matter, I guess. But the catless downpipe is a huge thing for a lot of people. Probably can get it tuned, I don't know, open source tuning or some other ways, but through Cobb, ECU Tech eventually will not be happening. But anyway, there is a big list of all the features and functionality changes that are going to occur on Cobb's website, so I'll link that in the description. So what does it mean future state? Well, you'll never be able to use your AccessPORT again. No, I'm kidding. The AccessPORT, wow, we got a ball in the way. Look at that little parking ball. The AccessPORT will still be able to be used. It's just neutered a bit, and the tuners are gonna have to be a little bit more creative with what they tune and how they tune, I mean. So yeah, I'll be honest, the knowledge that I have on it is slim as far as how it all works. But did just want to kind of give a quick overview of the situation. Outside of that though, we are headed into a dark era in the car world until people accept the change. No more STI, EVs are coming out left and right. These emissions regulations are getting more strict. Really the only one that's trying is Toyota. They've got the Corolla GR, they've got the GR86, and they've got now the Supra with a manual transmission, 6-speed manual that they just talked about, or at least teased. So Toyota's the only one that's kind of the last hurrah. Everybody else has just kind of kicked it, and you know what? We're gonna fall in line, which it's Big Brother, David versus Goliath type situation. At the end of the day, nothing really you can do, but it is a little disappointing. Other than that, like I said, just wanted to give a quick little overview. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a discussion in the comments. Go ham.